In this problem, we're talking about a certain medical test where an adult drinks a certain amount of a 30% glucose or sugar solution, but when the test is administered to a child, they have to reduce the concentration down to 20%. So what they're going to do is add water to the 30% glucose solution in order to reduce it to a 20% glucose solution. And so the first thing we need our unknown here. We need to make a name for our variable. And we're actually asked to find two things. We're asked to find how much of the 30% glucose solution and how much water. So one of those needs to be our unknown. Let's just say I'll let x be the amount, which notice our amounts are given in ounces. So let x be the number of ounces of the 30% solution of glucose. All right, well, we don't need another variable for the water because we're told that we want a total of 7 ounces of this 20% solution. So if x ounces are the 30%, then the rest of it, which would be 7 minus x, would be the ounces of water that we want to add. All right, so when we mix the water with the glucose solution, we're sort of keeping track of how much glucose is in there. And like with most mixture problems, we're going to have a percent times amount from one of the pieces plus the percent times amount for the second equals the percent times amount that we want in the final result. So we're going to be looking at the percent glucose in our 30% solution. And we want to multiply that by the amount of the 30% solution. We're going to be adding to that water, but we do the same pieces. We want the percent glucose in water times the amount of water. And that should then equal the percent glucose that we want. That's namely in our 20% solution, times the amount that we want of our 20% solution. All right, so let's start filling in. The percent glucose in a 30% glucose solution is 30% written as a decimal, 0.3. The amount, well, that's our x. That was our unknown. All right, so that's plus. Now, here's the little twist that makes this a slightly different mixture problem. We're adding water. So what is the percent of glucose in water? Well, there isn't any. If you're adding water, then you're not adding any glucose or sugar. So the percentage is actually 0. Now let's just keep going. So the percent glucose in water is 0. The amount of water we decided was 7 minus x. That should be equal to the percent glucose in a 20% solution, 0.2, and the amount that we want total is 7 ounces. So basically when we add water, we're not adding any additional sugars. So that term does not contribute anything. So we just have a pretty simple linear equation here. Now it's not likely that this is going to turn out to be an exact decimal, so I'm actually going to turn this into fractions instead. So instead of 0.3, I can write that as 3/10 x, and 0.2 times 7 is 1.4, which is 14/10. That way I can just multiply both sides by 10, and I get 3x is equal to 14, so x is 14 over 3. Now let's go back and make sure we answer the question. X, remember, stood for ounces of 30% solution, so we're saying that we should mix 14/3 ounces of our 30% glucose solution with, and then the rest is water, and remember how we had that, the ounces of water is 7 minus our x, so 7 minus 14/3, common denominator of 3, and we end up with 7/3 ounces of water. So the only twist here is that when we're adding water, the percentage is actually 0.